name is Manish Patel. I am CEO and co-founder of Jiva.ai. Um, Actually, by training a very long time ago, I was a biologist, and at that time, the Human Genome Project was just finishing, so maths and computing was coming into a big way into the discipline, and that's where I learned the ropes on machine learning and AI, and did that in various different disciplines, from banking to insurance and health tech startups, and then ultimately at Jiva. So, what does Jiva do? Well, we actually identified a gap in the market where we saw lots of companies, lots of businesses, large and small, struggling with their data. And what they wanted to do was essentially analyze it and create some kind of predictive analytics from it, or create some kind of automation from it. But they didn't have the expertise to do it. And the reason was that that particular talent pool was quite rare, or it is still quite rare. It takes a very long time to find those people. Even if you can find them, they're generally quite expensive to hire. And even if you can afford them, it takes a long time to actually build an AI or machine learning solution. And then there's the hidden cost of actually deploying such a solution in production. So what we wanted to do was compress all of that complexity, compress that time, compress that cost as much as possible, so that it becomes more affordable and more productive for any company to engage with AI and machine learning. Essentially, we wanted to democratize the access to that particular technology. More broadly now, obviously, agents are becoming more popular, and model fusion, which is our core technology, it's the ability to be able to create multiple machine learning models and fuse them together. That is going to become a very fundamental piece in this whole agentic AI story, we think. And so that's what we're all about, democratizing AI, whether it's machine learning, data science, or agentic AI, from inception all the way through to production. So we're currently working with Toca as a technology or a technical partner. Toca do everything that we don't, right? So in many ways, they're a dream partner. They do UI interface design in a no-code way. They do data integrations in a no-code kind of way. So all of those kinds of automations, all of those kinds of UI facing or front-facing kind of applications are exactly the types of technologies that we don't actually engage with ourselves. We only like to do the data science and AI part of the journey. But the truth is, there's lots of clients in our pipeline, I'm sure lots of clients in Toca's pipeline, where clients just don't just need the kind of the AI component, they need the whole stack, right? They're building a product from the ground up, and in that stack, they need some UI development, they need some middleware development, some business logic development, they need some data integration, they need to pull information from all sorts of places on the internet. And then they need some analytics on top of that to be able to do the things they want to do. So in many ways, Toca is a perfect partnership for us. And whether Toca or Jiva fronts a build request, one of those entities owns the client relationship. And in terms of the client UX, their experience of that entire process of building something and then productionizing it becomes a much smoother journey for them, because in this way they're not actually interacting with multiple partners, they're interacting with one partner, either us or Toca, but they're able to get all of the things they want to get from a traditional product build. So why did we choose Toca, and what are our tangible benefits? Well, this is where Toca kind of comes into its own. They have a great sales team, first of all, with a lot of experience in that team, whether it's on sales or the technical side, and a solid product that really is you can describe it and define it as a platform rather than a single vertical product, and that works extremely well for Jiva. Our go-to market is becoming more and more through distributors and resellers and technical partnership plays. where the client usually has an existing relationship with that particular partner. And so we're not coming at that particular client cold, and therefore the sales cycle, the relationships are much easier to deal with. So in the end, the greatest benefit really is lowering the bar to entry into the market, so that Toca and Jiva both together have the ability to approach a much wider scope of the market in a much shorter time frame. Moreover, we have a sort of a joint mission in a way. So we're democratizing AI through no-code interfaces, through this way of being able to create solutions without burdening the client with sort of low-level programming tech. And actually, Toca is exactly the same in a different way, whether it's automation RPA or user interface building. They're effectively doing the same kind of thing in a different area of technology. And so this common mission is much stronger when we say it together than when we say it individually. And so we're now advocating for that true democratization across a whole technology stack rather than just one small corner or one part of the technology stack. And together we can actually create far more opportunities than individually. So this kind of unified message and an easier and stronger route to market is the real value this relationship brings to us. If you're a tech company, or even if you're not technology, you're some kind of partner to Toca, you're thinking of working with them, my key piece of advice would be that you align your product from the perspective of the client, because in the end, that how your product and Toca's make that customer build and the run of that build experience better, that is actually what's going to make the major difference. So once you get that story right, a whole world of opportunity will open up to you. And Jiva is currently transitioning into a real growth phase, I would say. There's so much going on in the AI space. We're constantly having to innovate, constantly having to reshape and reform the things that we're doing to stay ahead of the game. And more no code is becoming commonplace in lockstep with the other side of AI, which is vibe coding, where people are using it to create code-full applications. To the point where I think these two will probably become the most common ways to build products. Right? On the one side, complete no code; on the other side, vibe coding, so-called vibe coding. Either way, massively accelerating startups, massively accelerating corporates alike in their build journeys and their deployment journeys. And that's what I find that is most exciting is that we're at this nexus in our technology history where you're getting incredible pieces of technology from the AI world and the enablement from people like Toca. And where these two things meet, we're actually finding an enormous opportunity, a world of opportunity to tap into. And that is really exciting, because it's just the sheer potential of the growth of this, if you play it right, is just incredible. So in one sentence, if I could describe our partnership with Toca, if I would sum it up, it would be this, is that Toca is our force multiplier. It's the thing that unlocks incredible growth potential for us, and it's the thing that unlocks an incredible customer experience for us. So we're incredibly excited to be on this journey with Toca.